The 2024 Boston Celtics can almost smell the taste of glory, just 2 wins away from raising another banner, one that would surpass the Lakers for most titles in NBA history, the illustrious and most decorated franchise for any team in the NBA. How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, soon to be future NBA champs, both still in their mid-20s, been in many big playoff moments since they were rookies, a team that's been in contention just a few years removed from the Paul Pierce, Rondo, and Garnett era. The last championship this franchise won 16 years ago, Al Horford was in his rookie season with Atlanta, took the eventual champs to 7 games in round 1. Talk about a full circle of a career ride. Joe Mazzulla was in his second season at West Virginia as a backup, younger than every member of the 08 title team. Everyone on that roster been retired for years. Jayson Tatum was 10 years old, growing up in Missouri, seeing his idol, the late great Kobe Bryant, battle his future team. Jaylen Brown was growing up in Georgia, joined the hike of the 2010s after Ray Allen left for Miami, left the helpless, aging Garnett and Pierce, getting bounced round 1 by New York. The desperate Nets, looking to build around Deron Williams, try to form a failed super team. The brilliant Danny Ainge, known for his good eyes for talent evaluation, as the Nets crumbled and collapsed into misery. 3 straight below 29 win seasons with no assets to show, traded everything. Boston used what was supposed to be Brooklyn's pick to draft Jaylen Brown 3rd overall out of Cal, arguably the best player for his 2016 class. Then came the 20-win season. Team had the rights to the first pick, only to trade with the Sixers and absolutely robbed them to humiliation. Boston continues to own the Sixers in the playoff ever since, a team with a generational superstar choker yet to get out of round 2. Tatum continues to prove himself the best in his class for back-to-back seasons. The struggling Sixers and Lakers received the number 1 and 2 picks. Those players selected above JB and JT has been an absolute disappointment on all levels, starting with Ben Simmons, mentally and physically broken, damaged goods. Last 3 years, the only type of basketball he's known for, the fake summer hype videos, absolutely ruining it for every player who puts out a workout video to show they're working on their game. We can't believe any of that anymore. The way how Luka Doncic dominating in these playoffs, this was expected to be how Ben Simmons should be performing, but likely on his way out the NBA, nobody will feel bad or even miss him. Could turn out becoming the biggest waste of talent of the century, being the near consensus number 1 pick, the best thing to happen for Boston. Not get the number 1 or 2 pick in 2016. The C's, along with all other 29 teams, would have taken Simmons over Brown given the insane hype, potential, talent, strength, and size alone. In most drafts, JB would have been taken anywhere between 2nd to 6th based on the talent of the class. A 20-year-old Brown will be the number 1 pick of this coming week 2024 draft class, but JB would have been likely 4th or 5th for the 2023 class, in the range of the Thompson twins, projected to become a Jason Richardson / Jimmy Butler caliber player. Jaylen Brown, a strong case for the top 20 discussion, perhaps even between top 10 to 15 with a title to show, and a multiple-time All-Star, a former NBA All-Second teamer, robbed for All-NBA this season. JB has absolutely lived up to the hype and more, becoming a stronger vocal leader every year, playing All-NBA caliber defense. The now 27-year-old should be in the start of his prime, paid his dues from lack of playing time as a rookie, labeled an inefficient chucker with no passing, but continue putting on the work, constant improvements. Brown and Simmons couldn't be more opposite of one another. Simmons having all the gifts from day 1, an all-star by his 2nd full season, a defensive player of the year candidate. Ben simply the better player until after 2021, the year JB had his season cut short, needing wrist surgery, while Simmons never recovered from being a huge playoff liability, roasted with good reason. His doubters proven to be fully right. Ben's lack of offensive improvement and refusal to work on his jumper would simply not fly with a transparent organization like Boston or Miami. 3 years since the Atlanta series, Simmons played a whopping 57 combined games since, triple single numbers of under 7, 7, and 6. On 5.5 shot attempts, 43% from the line, has not worked on his game at all, an all-out pathetic display of a travesty. finessed the league, made his case as the GOAT of the biggest robbery Hall of Fame, ironically ended up on the team that originally had the rights to the third pick but owed to Boston. Looking back, more than a decade after the massive trades, the Celtics franchise continues to be top-notch, only 2 more wins from raising its 18th banner, while the pathetic, shameful Nets continues to be the laughingstock of the league. Consider the fake New York team bottom shelf to the Knicks, stuck with a pathetic player like Simmons. The two couldn't have ended up perfectly matched, only to end up getting a divorce very soon. While number 2 pick Brandon Ingram, drafted by the Lakers, a similar ceiling and talent level to Brown, JB, given his work ethic, availability, and overall team success, much better than Ingram. Just like Brown, BI struggled throughout his rookie season, a shaky jumper, way too overhyped with the Kevin Durant-like comparisons, but made improvements by year 2 and 3, only to be ridiculed heavily for not being better, especially as the number 2 option for a LeBron-led team. Everyone knew Ingram's time in LA was done when the Anthony Davis trade talk started building, needing to move out of LeBron's shadows. BI's career looked promising, while Most Improved Player 2020 averaged 24, 6, and 4 for a young Pelicans team. His first and only All-Star appearance, took charge, being aggressive in big moments, a much more polished offensive game than Brown at that point of his career with weaker defense, only to not make improvements, remain stagnant, way too unreliable and injury prone. BI at the height of his powers 2022 got his first taste of the playoffs, balled out, averaged 27, 6, and 6, the last time Ingram truly had a case for best player in his class. But post 2022, Jaylen Brown surpassed Ingram in all player ranking discussions. New Orleans supposed to be up and coming, but him and Zion can't stay healthy. Missed 37 games 2023, doesn't shoot as many threes, lots of mid-range jumpers. New Orleans in shambles, not expected to offer Ingram a contract extension. The only thing he has over Brown, the playmaking, but not by much. BI can also be a complete ball stopper at times, arguably came back too early from knee injury, was an absolute travesty during the Thunder series, having to face the physical Luke Dort without Zion, still hasn't balanced in trying to get his points and facilitate at the same time being effective. Ingram also hasn't put on that much weight since getting to the league, getting manhandled by Dort, one of the main stars in the trade market, still only age 26, can definitely become an all-star again, but will he ever be healthy enough to get a crack at All-NBA team? Time will tell. As for the 2017 draft, the Celtics ballsy enough to trade down and still get the best player in the draft. The Philadelphia 76ers absolutely played. An organization that already had Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid waiting to be fully healthy together. The main talk of the draft was the polarizing LeVar Ball hyping up Lonzo, doing media, making all the headlines, while Markelle Fultz out of University of Washington was the top choice amongst many scouts, wasn't considered consensus number 1 or transcendent. Boston traded down, at the time super guard heavy, with Isaiah Thomas, Avery Bradley, Marcus Smart, and Terry Rozier. Danny Ainge super confident in wanting Duke superstar Jayson Tatum from the beginning, the most guaranteed sure thing of a bucket getter, being 6'8" with an elite ISO game. Had the Sixers been smart, a trio of Simmons, Tatum, and Embiid could have won multiple rings by now, while Utah's Donovan Mitchell, 2 years older than Tatum, won Rookie of the Year, both now 5-time All-Stars, but JT already 4 All-NBA teams. Even if Fultz and Lonzo were healthy, their ceiling's nowhere near as good as Tatum. Markelle with a nerve shoulder injury, a disastrous time in Philly, allowed to play with his shot form looking like that. The organization only made things worse. Nobody would say what really happened, led to speculations. Rumors about a biking accident emerged, way too much cover-ups, played just 33 games in 2 seasons with the franchise before traded to Orlando, finally fully healthy, 2020, averaged 12 and 5 dimes, much improved, showed flashes of star power, but no longer has a superstar ceiling, suffered a torn ACL 8 games into the 21 season, missed over a year, had his best season 2023, averaged 14.6 assists as a starter, but regressed. ongoing knee injuries, missed 39 games this past season, 21 minutes off the bench. Team found huge success without him, nowhere near the outside shooter he was in college. Despite having winning qualities, good with the ball in his hands, but MacLeod simply doesn't spread the floor. Orlando, being a bad three-point shooting team, needs outside shooters. Fultz doesn't solve that problem. His shot looking worse, regressed this year, the shoulder concerns and repair knees, a bad combination. If next season produces similar results from this year, Fultz could be out the league before age 30 for all we know, looking like just a solid 6-man going forward. Despite Lonzo missing 2.5 seasons with the gruesome knee injury, Fultz still 18 total games short of Ball. Lonzo, the biggest hype of the draft, but a little too hype. Many vets took that personally, literally got this year's Caitlin Clark treatment, except Lonzo nowhere near NBA star material. The magnitude of injuries, terrible BBB shoes, and playing for his hometown team with the insurmountable pressure, a 41% outside shooter in college, but mocked for the weird looking form, abysmal every shot he took as a rookie, averaged 10, 7, and 7, good intangibles guy, absolutely couldn't play with LeBron, being off ball for year 2 with an underdeveloped shot, had to repair a torn meniscus after his rookie year, suffered a nasty ankle injury January 2019 against Houston, already missed a combined 65 games first 2 seasons, then involved in the AD trade. His healthiest year, 2020, became a solid player, but far from a true all-star. Still very passive, a 12, 6, and 7 guy with great D. His passing excellent, but not next level, not being able to break down defenses by himself. Spent just 2 seasons in NOLA, got a reasonable contract offer, 4 years 80 with Chicago. The Pels simply didn't match, replaced by Devontae Graham. Somehow New Orleans thought that was genius. Father LeVar even hated seeing his son play in New Orleans under Stan Van Gundy. Lonzo literally was a match made in heaven for the DeMar Zach LaVine's Bulls, in position for the number 1 seed, played just 35 games, averaged 13, 5, and 5, 42% from deep, having a good knack for the game, stellar defense, all of a sudden an excellent 3-and-D with elite passing. Although nowhere near the talent level of a Tatum, Lonzo was heading towards being a Drew Holiday type of player. Less impactful on defense but better playmaking, an elite do-it-all role player with all defense potential, bringing winning qualities, a beauty feeding the athletic LaVine and DeMar, excelling in transition. The best comparison I can say, the OG and Anunoby of point guards, the core of the Bulls' identity. There's a reason why the team fell apart without him, otherwise they'd be competing for home court advantage in round 1 for the last several years. After many doubts whether his knee career ending, got a new meniscus in what seemed like one of the saddest sports endings as he was finding his place in the league. Nobody can truly know how Lonzo will bounce back. Took his $20 million option for next season, a make or break year. That'll be the deciding factor of his career. We can only pray for the best. Ben Simmons, Brandon Ingram, Markelle Fultz, and Lonzo Ball, all with different teams since being picked. All 4 with the exception to Ingram, who will likely be the only one in the league for the next decade, barring any major injury. Simmons and Fultz could both be out the league before the Sixers even make it past the 2nd round. Lonzo remains the most unknown, could have only 20 games left of NBA basketball, perhaps 200 games, or even 5 more seasons before regressing. It'd be a miracle if Lonzo, Ben Simmons, and Markelle can make it past 2030 given their bodies, while the duo of Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum could become the next NBA dynasty, with the potential winning several championships. Looking back at the 2017 and 2018 draft, Danny Ainge seeing Brown's athleticism, work ethic, being raw out of Cal Berkeley, and Jayson Tatum with the excellent polished footwork. Thank God he didn't have to worry about Josh Jackson and Brad Stevens trading for Derek White, Kristaps Porzingis, and Drew Holiday. Master decision making, long-term success, ring number 18 on the horizon.